The legendary Grim Reaper, soul guide, or life devourer. In ancient cultures, death was not seen as an absolute end, but rather as a gateway to a new journey. From the Mayans to the Norse, from the Egyptians to the Chinese, every civilization had a deity who represented death, not just to instill fear, but to maintain the balance between life and death. The Mayan Puch is both the god of endings and beginnings. The Norse Hell represents the souls of those who die less gloriously, but still need protection. The Egyptian Anubis guides souls through the journey of judgment, and the Hindu Yama is the arbiter of justice. Death in mythology is not simply a final destination. It carries profound meanings of rebirth, reincarnation, and justice. When we understand this, we can face death not with fear, but with respect. And perhaps the most wonderful thing is that death itself teaches us to cherish life more than ever. In ancient Mayan culture, Puch is one of the most haunting deities, the god of death, the embodiment of darkness, decay, and endings. But what makes Puch different from many other death gods in the world is that he is not only the bearer of death, but also the one who opens the way for new life to begin. Puch was considered the lord of Shibaba, the cold and terrifying underworld where the souls of the dead must pass. But alongside his horror, he was also associated with rebirth, as the Maya believed that all life comes from death. A plant sprouts only after its seed has rotted underground, and so can humans, who can only enter a new life after leaving the mortal world. Puch is often depicted with a skull and exposed ribs, sometimes carrying a bell to signal the approach of death. But to the Maya, he was not entirely evil. In some legends, Puch was said to have the power to heal if people prayed to him and respected him. Compared to Western cultures, where death is often seen as tragic, fearful, and avoided, the Mayan mindset is profound and mature. They understand that without death, there is no life. Without darkness, light is meaningless. Puch is not a destroyer, but a pioneer of new beginnings, an essential link in the circle of existence. And that is the lesson the modern world can learn from Mayan mythology. Instead of fearing death, learn to understand and appreciate it as a way to live more fully. Puch is not a destroyer, but a pioneer of new beginnings, an essential link in the circle of existence. And that is the lesson the modern world can learn from Mayan mythology. Instead of fearing death, learn to understand and appreciate it as a way to live more fully. In legend, Mo once defeated Baal, the god of rain, life, and fertility. When Baal was swallowed, the earth fell into drought. Life gradually disappeared. The land cracked, and crops failed. But the story does not end there. The goddess Enoth Bao's sister was angry, killed Mo, and avenged her brother. Thanks to that, Bo was resurrected. Rain fell again, and life returned. However, Mo did not die forever. He was resurrected, and the war began again. The cycle between life and death, between the rainy season and the dry season, between Baal and Mo, continued as an eternal law of heaven and earth. This is not just a myth. It is a metaphor for the harsh weather cycle in the Middle East, where people always live in a fragile state between life and death. What is special about Mo is that he was not hated, not banished from the world, because the Canaanites understood that death was as important as life. Without Mo, people would not understand the value of rain, of wheat, or of every sip of water. Without the dry season, the rainy season would no longer be a blessing. Today, in the midst of our modern, comfortable lives, we seem to have forgotten that simple lesson. We want to keep things forever. We fear loss. We fear change. But if the ancients could accept death as part of the natural order, then perhaps we should also learn to appreciate the end as a way to start something new. And that is Mo, a god who does not bring destruction, but carries a profound meaning about the necessity of ending to open up life. In Hindu mythology, Yama is the god of death and the guardian of the underworld, the supreme judge who judges souls after they have passed away. Unlike many other gods of death, who are often depicted as gloomy, Yama appears as a symbol of justice, morality, and cyclical order. According to legend, Yama was the first mortal to die, and from then on became the guardian of the souls that followed him. He is depicted riding a black buffalo, holding a noose, a rope that is used to pull the soul from the body when it is time to die. But instead of being a terror, Yama is seen as the keeper of order between good and evil, between merit and demerit. In the Hindu belief system, Yama not only decides death, but also judges souls, deciding who is reborn as a human and who must suffer the consequences of karma in the next life. After death, souls will be taken to Yamaloka, Yama's kingdom, where he and his assistants, such as Chitragupta, the person who records the sins and merits of each person, examine the book of birth and death based on behavior, morality, and karma to make a judgment. What is amazing is that Yama has not disappeared over time. He appears throughout ancient texts like the Rig Veda, through the great epics like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and later the Puranas. Although the Indian pantheon is complex and has changed over the centuries, Yama's role has remained a core part of Hindu, moral, and spiritual thought. The special feature of the image of Yama is absolute justice. He is impartial, not emotional, based only on the karma that each individual has accumulated in life. This deeply reflects the philosophy of cause and effect of Hinduism. Every action has consequences, and no one can escape the law of cause and effect. Today, although the myth is only a symbol, the image of Yama still reminds people of the ethics of life, of how each action today will determine the future, not only in this life, but also in the next. And that is Yama, the god of death, that teaches people how to live correctly and fairly, not only in the underworld, but also in people's hearts. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Anubis is one of the most important and sacred gods, directly associated with death, funerals, and the soul's journey to the afterlife. He is often depicted as a man with the head of a black jackal, an animal that often roamed around ancient cemeteries, symbolizing death, but also the protector of the soul and body. Unlike many images of death in other cultures, which are often scary or punitive, Anubis has a sacred and protective feel. He does not take lives, but appears after death has occurred as a guide to the soul, to the final judgment. In Egyptian belief, after death, the soul would undergo the weighing of the heart ritual, where the deceased's heart was placed on a scale, weighed against the feather of the god Mat. It was Anubis who oversaw this important ritual, ensuring fairness and judgment. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul was released. If not, the soul would be devoured by a monster. Not stopping there, Anubis also played an important role in the process of mummification, a sacred art and ritual that the Egyptians believed would keep the soul able to return and be reborn. Anubis is considered the god who created the first mummification ritual, when he personally mummified the god Osiris, who later became the king of the underworld. Because of that role, the priests in ancient Egyptian funerals often wore masks of Anubis's head to perform the ritual as a way to connect humans with the gods at the moment. The soul leaves the body. Anubis, in the hearts of the Egyptians, is not only the god of death, but also the protector of the soul, the guide, the symbol of eternal life after death. The image of Anubis has continued to live on for thousands of years, becoming one of the most popular gods, not only in Egypt, but also in modern popular culture. Perhaps because Anubis does not represent meaningless death, but symbolizes the hope of an ultimate existence, another life after we leave this world. And that is what makes Anubis both mysterious and humane in the history of the gods. If we take a closer look, we will see death in different cultures is not always the enemy. Sometimes they are guides, protectors, even the ones who open a new journey after death. Are you afraid of death? Perhaps, after understanding these gods, death is no longer an obsession, but becomes an inevitable, yet magical and metaphorical part of the cycle of reincarnation. Which god is your favorite? Leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to discover the next legends on the fascinating journey of mythology and culture.